All right, everyone. Welcome to our first YouTube video of the channel. We're doing what we promised. We're doing a tier list ranking all of the Brandon Mull books. And just a disclaimer, this is all our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and yeah, if we don't like a book as much as you did and we don't rank it as high as you would, just please remember, maybe it's because we haven't read the book in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because, we didn't read it as, younger kids, so we don't have that nostalgic attachment.
Well, it's not just, nostalgia. Maybe I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens.
It happens to the best of us.
But if you think we're totally wrong, you make your own tier list and send it right to us, and we will look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And
we will love that so much.
That'd be awesome, actually. So we want to hear your guys' opinions. So feel free to comment, send us your tier lists, and let us know what you guys think, because this is just what we think. But honestly, this could change within a month. I could if I read something and been like, oh, I actually like this book more than I thought I did.
That's very true. It happens. I've been doing, just since we've started rereading Fablehaven.
Yeah.
Or when I reread Beyonders a month or two ago. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is better than I remembered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like every time I reread a series, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. I like this a lot.
Oh yeah, this is good.
More of this, please.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Well, why don't we get started, Megan? I think you should put yours up first.
So how this is going to work is we both separately made our own tier lists for these books, and now we're going to reveal to each other and to you where we rank it, and then we'll discuss about where we think it should go in this, our channel's tier list. So we're going in order of release date. And so Fablehaven Book 1, I ranked it on B tier.
Let me pull up my picture of what I took. I put it A tier.
A tier?
I did.
That's fair.
I thought it did a very good job with world building. Because that was his very first book.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is from, I believe, 2007 was when it was published.
Yeah,
2006. 2006 is how it's an oldie and a goodie.
True.
That book, I think, just having reread it in the past few months when we did our reviews of it, I was very pleasantly surprised because I had not reread it in a while. But I loved the character building. I think it's, of all Brandon's books, Kendra and Seth feel like they are 14 and 11. Of the rest of the books, some of the other ones, you kind of just get the feeling, would you really be saying or thinking these things if you were a 13-year-old? It just sounds a little bit more like a 16, 17-year-old.
That's fair.
But I think that first book, you can very easily relate to Seth and Kendra. They act their age, and I don't know, I just enjoy it a lot. It has a very good sibling dynamic.
I think the reason I put it down lower, I think I had it up in A tier, and then I was putting other books up, and I was looking at it as a whole, is it as good as these other ones? I don't know. So I think that's what kind of bumped it down for me, but we could move it later, but okay, let's put it in A tier. A tier for now.
All right.
And then we'll see. All right. So where did you put book 2?
Book 2, I had it very, very end of A tier, practically B tier.
Okay. I also had a B tier, but I had it above the first one.
Did you? Interesting. Okay. Why did you have it above the first one?
I think I had it above the first one because I think it's just a better story. I feel like it drew me in more than the first one. I think the first one obviously is a good foundation, but I don't know. I think I like how it opens the world more, and I like that we get a glimpse into villains that aren't just magical creatures like demons or whatever, this random evil. It's people making decisions to choose a different side, and I kind of like that, and I feel like that gives a better dynamic of the fight that they're joining, and I kind of like that. And I think that just makes it like a slightly deeper story.
Also Warren.
Yes. If I'm being honest,
I didn't say that.
Warren. I was trying to base it off like the book itself,
but that was in the back of your head.
Warren is always on my mind.
Okay, fair enough. You know what? Yeah, put it above. Yeah, I agree. That is
put it in front of number.
Put it in front of number 1.
Okay.
It does a very good job like opening up the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Okay. So
just so you guys know, this is going to be very painful for us because we love all of these books.
Yeah.
This is literally like trying to choose like a favorite child.
I literally had to keep reminding myself that I was ranking it within all of these books, and all of these books are good, and that I like all of these books, and that I'm a fan of all of these books. So just keep in mind, if it's even like down lower,
it's still the worst of the best.
I still really like it.
It is still the worst of the best.
I will still probably reread all of these books.
Very true. Very true. Agreed.
Okay. So, Candy Shop War 1, I put it at the end of my B tier.
I put it early C tier.
Early C? Yeah, I could agree with that for sure.
Yeah. It's a fun book.
I just think the older I get,
the more juvenile it is.
The more juvenile it is, the more I'm like, this isn't for me. Like these other books, they're children's, but like Fablehaven, Dragonwatch, and all that, I'm like, no, I can enjoy this as like a teen and adult. But like Candy Shop War, that is the series I think is for kids.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And so like the first one I like a lot, but I would agree.
I think, like we'll probably get into this later on, but that is definitely my favorite of the 3.
Same.
But personally, I understand why people wanted more in this universe. But I think I would have been perfectly content if that was like it was like a one shot,
one off. Yeah,
because I think it was a very good. So I don't hate the other 2. I love the other 2. They're fun.
Their 2 are fine.
They're
not really.
They're not as needed.
No.
Yeah. But like that came out in like 2009, I think. 2008,
I like also didn't even remember that he wrote it for a while. Like it took me a while to even like read it, and that might.
I read it pretty early.
Yeah.
Like it was on our bookshelf as a kid, so I read it for
like it's a good story, but it just doesn't really grab me as the other ones do. And I feel like it didn't. He didn't write it as to be a series. He wrote it to be a one-off, and I think maybe
it was just
that's
fan reaction.
Why. Like I feel like there wasn't anywhere to really go, and he had to kind of like make somewhere to go. And so that could be part of it.
We can continue this discussion when we get to the other books.
Yeah. All right. So C tier, that feels fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Grip of the Shadow Plague.
I put that is my number 1 of my A tier.
Number 1 A tier.
Mm-hmm.
I also have it on A tier.
That is such a good book for me.
That's a really good one. I would definitely put that above 1 and 2. I agree.
Come on.
There we go.
Yeah, like that one, like I just have like, that is the first one where you get like, Warren is in full action, Patton's killing it.
Yes.
Because we get Patton, love him.
Characters.
We get Lena back.
Yeah.
We get insight into what Kendra's powers mean, besides the fact that she's a battery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she can see in the dark.
True.
Like she gets to kind of be more of a battery, like more than just that.
And we get like the greater world of like you go to Lost Mesa and you like do another preserve. She become part of the Knights of the Dawn, and it's I really like
a little bit of love.
3. Yes.
Granted, it's with a bad guy, but
love, but whatever,
It's still interesting.
Yeah, when you're reading book 3 and up to book 4 until he realizes he's a traitor, you're like, oh yeah, I like Gavin,
And also it feels like she's a 14, 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
With a crush.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well written. And one of my favorite chapters is in book 3. I love the chapter Brownie Sunday, when the brownies turn dark and then they booby trap the entire house.
Yes.
That is one of my favorite chapters. I think it's so funny.
And I love that Warren's the one who's actually like trying to, like, he's the one trying to get to the kids, and then Seth's like, why don't we just push this down the stairs? And he's like, do it.
And then Kendra's like, all boys are stupid. She's like, you guys are all ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
So
love
funny.
that.
So, yeah, I really love book 3.
And, like, that's when, like, the plot really starts to thicken, like, with, like, them trying to get other of the Knights of the Dawn on their side and convince, like, being like, hey, so the Sphinx, huh?
Yeah, and that's when they for sure find out that he's a traitor. And
at the end, like, stakes start going up. Lost Mesa falls.
Yeah.
They barely save Fablehaven. They've lost the fairy
They have
queen.
the chronometer.
They have the chronometer, but they've lost the fairy queen shrine.
Yeah. Like, the stakes are starting to
Lena
pile
is
up.
dead.
Mm-hmm.
Still not over that.
Yeah.
Still not over Lena.
Anyway, yes.
Honestly.
Book 3, fantastic book.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And Patton kicks butt. He's a king. He is a king who deserved the queen.
Yes.
That is Lena.
Okay, so. Moving on to book 4, Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary.
Take a series about their lives.
So would like everyone else. I ranked book 4, and this is one that I could be swayed on, but I ranked it at S tier.
You put S tier. Interesting.
What did you rank it at?
See, I was kind of hurt. Okay. I was hurrying a little bit when I was making this tier list, guys, okay? I put it in B tier, but, like, as we've been talking, I've just been thinking, hey, let me finish.
Sorry, I know you're rushed, but
I was a little bit rushed. And as I'm like looking at it in my list, I'm like, that doesn't feel right. That just doesn't feel right.
Okay. You want me to tell you why I put it at S tier?
Hit me.
Because originally I had it at A tier, and I was looking at it and I was like,
that's where I would put it right now. But yes, continue.
A really good book. Because, like, there's a lot that happens, but I feel like it all flows really well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it tells, like, a really good story. And I feel like Kendra and Seth will get their times to shine. Seth, like, gets the unicorn horn, and he, like, sneaks off and goes with them to the Dragon Sanctuary. And then he, like, it sets up things like him meeting Agid, which I think is really interesting. It sets up the whole, like, Wormroost stuff, first of all, to come later in Dragonwatch. But
I do
also,
really like that Wormroost is, like this entire book almost takes place outside of Fablehaven, which is needed.
Which is nice. And, like, yeah, we get, like, a dragon sanctuary, which is, like, the first time, first of all, we, like, get dragons, and then we see this other, like, almost like preserve, but not. It's like a sanctuary, and it's like a, you know, the preserves are like the kitty zoos, like petting zoos, and then this is like like Survivor. I don't know, like, it's crazy.
I love that the place where people are turned into dandelion fluff, like, the place is nearly overthrown and people die almost every year. That's the kitty. That is the petting zoo.
That is like
this is the nature preserve, like, with the lions, like, and the tigers and bears. Oh my.
This is like the high dive of the pool, and Fablehaven and those are sanctuaries are like the little, like, 1 foot go into the water. And so, I don't know, I just like the story. There's a really good twist, too. With Gavin being
a dragon, not even just an enemy, a dragon
prince who's, like, part of the demons, basically.
We lose Dugan. We find out, like, what else happens in 4?
The society kidnaps their parents.
They kidnap Kendra.
Kendra dies.
I forgot about that.
But then she comes back. Like, there's a lot that happens, and it's just, like, it just pulls you in, and it's, like, a really, really solid book.
I really like that part for Seth as well, like, when Kendra is gone. Mm. Like, Seth, major growth.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He but also healthy grieving.
Yes.
And I think that follows in the later books. Ooh. Mm.
I feel like Seth grows a lot in this book, and it's really
Let's put it number 1 A tier right now.
Number 1 A tier?
I am flexible, however, as we continue to putting it higher in the A tier list. No, just do S tier. No, it deserves it. It deserves
S tier right now.
Never mind.
I think it's a really good book.
All right. Where'd you put 5?
Oh, keys off.
Oh,
so
right.
You do 5.
Okay. Then... For 5, I put that one S tier.
Oh, you know I put that one S tier.
I put it S tier.
It's first S tier.
Okay, you know what? I love that. I love
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I like that is such a good sign for a series to get better as it goes on.
Yes, that is something I was thinking about, is that, like, Brandon, I think, is really good at starting first books that have, like, a good basis, but then usually his succeeding books in the series get better. I think that is definitely true for Fablehaven, and I'm glad we agree, because I think Keys of Demon Prison is 100% S tier. It's phenomenal.
I think also with Fablehaven, like, he started off at a very good spot, and then I think Fablehaven, Keys of the Demon Prison, is his best finale. Like, of all the series,
100%.
The fifth book in this one is, like, even, like, not even just comparing, like, fifth book to fifth book to fifth book to third book.
Yeah.
This is the one where he ended he landed solidly on his feet after he made that tumble.
This is a touchdown, 100% win the game, like...
Whereas in some of the other series, I'm like, I think the fourth one I would put a little bit ahead of the fifth one. The third one had some really great moments.
Yeah.
This one, it's like, no, he was building up, and then he stuck the landing.
It is, yeah. And I was thinking that my S tier ones, like, I wouldn't really rank, but I do have the fifth book as the first one, because I think the fifth book is my favorite of all of his books.
Really?
I think so. I think it's the one that I go back to most, because I think about it a lot. And I re-listen to it a lot, actually. And, you know, maybe don't quote me on that it's my favorite, but it has some of my favorite moments in any of his books. Like, when they're standing at the entrance of the demon prison, and, like, Bracken gives that, like, speech.
Oh, yeah, that speech is fire.
Like, the sun is to our back. And it's just like, this is why we're called the Knights of the Dawn. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is epic.
I need to reread that.
It's amazing.
When was the last time you reread that?
You, like, last year?
It's been a minute for me.
Honestly, book 5 of Fablehaven has, and, like, when I read it for the first time, I remember just being like, this is amazing. I love this so much. A lot of nostalgia, a lot of good memories, but also it's just such a solid book and a solid ending. So
interesting.
That's why, I think it's first.
Yeah. I have it as my number 2 of my favorites.
Don't tell us who it is. What it is.
I won't tell you what number 1 is, but this one is, like, I do remember reading this one. Like, I did not... I think I got into Fablehaven a little bit after you did. When I started reading them, we already had all of the books. We had all 5. So I was able to binge.
That is nice.
Which I love. I love binging.
I started reading when the third one was out.
Which was probably...
Okay, let me tell you why also...
That was 2008.
The fifth book was great because... My whole family read Fablehaven, right? My brother literally got up at midnight, went to Walmart, and bought the 5th book.
What a bro. He read,
like, most of it throughout the night, and then it slowly went through each of my family members. Like, my mom got it next, and then my sister and I had to try and, like, take it a couple times to, like, get through a couple chapters. Like, it was kind of like a crazy... like, experience. We're all like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
That's where you buy, like, 3 or 4 and then you return to at the end when you're all finished.
No, but it's seriously, like, we're all... I remember, like, my sister was, like, eating dinner and, like, reading it, and we're like, don't get food on the book. We were like, seriously, we were, like, passing it around.
I love that that's the response, because if I ever tried that, my mom would be like, put your book away, you're at the dinner table.
Oh,
I would have loved to be...
reading it, too.
Like, I would have loved to be at that dinner table. Oh, gosh.
So, yeah. That's also just, like, a good memory.
Yeah, that's a great... I'm with you.
So, yeah.
That's a great book.
That's why it's also, like...
I can't wait to reread that together.
It's so good.
It's going to be great. All right. Moving on.
I think next is my turn.
Yep.
Okay.
World Without Heroes. Book 1 of Beyonders.
This was kind of hard for me because I love Beyonders, but I do think the first one is not as good as the second and the third one. And so I went back and forth between A and B. And I could put it on either A or B. I think I put it on B, but I could put it on A.
I have it on B.
You have it on B?
I have it on B.
Okay.
I really liked this one I think it's a little heavy on the lore dump sometimes, like especially at the beginning.
And that's why
which is to be fair.
Been 5 books anyway.
Yes, I did. When was the last time you reread this?
At the beginning of this year.
I read it. Yeah, I read it like in June. So we're both very fresh on this one.
Yeah, I reread it in January or December.
And so, yes, okay. So full reveal. I did not read this as a child. these books. I read Fablehaven. I read Dragonwatch as it was coming out. I read Five Kingdoms as it was coming out, which was like my early teens to mid-teens. However, Beyonders just went right under my radar. I never read them. However, when we were roommates, you were very adamant in your defense and saying, these are so amazing, you have to read them. And so I read them. That was my freshman year of college.
That was like 4 years ago.
That was about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I did not read them as a kid. However, even without that nostalgic feeling, I still think they are very, very good books. Mm-hmm. I do feel like Jason and Rachel could have been more like 16 or 17.
Yes, we've talked about this.
We've talked about this, but just as an aside. However, I think it is a very interesting, cool book with a really cool premise.
Yes. And I don't think, you talk a lot about nostalgia. I don't know if nostalgia makes them better in my mind, because I reread them so often. I think they're really good books, but I think, like you said, it's very lore heavy, and I feel like this book, it takes a couple chapters to really get going. Mm-hmm. And by like the middle, like especially by the end of it, like it's really good, and it has like the really good twist at the end, which like I was not expecting, of like the word not being real to him.
That is also a little bit of one of my gripes, though.
Really, I love that twist.
Not the twist. Amazing. I thought the twist was amazing. It was just the word in general, because I just felt like Jason and Rachel are 14-year-olds, not even from this world. Mm-hmm. And it took them how many weeks to gather the entire word?
Like 6 or 7.
Yeah, like 2 months. And how long did it take? Give me the king's name.
Galaran.
Galaran. I almost said like Galinar, and I was like, that's something else. That's another Brandon.
I feel like you could combine any like king name and make a name anyway.
True. But like, so I just felt like that felt a little weird. It felt a little bit too easy for me. Yes, okay. The Emperor was kind of like, oh, let's see them play. Like let's let them, because like that's why he sent Farron to kind of like keep an eye on them. And Galaran did help in certain things, like having certain things engraven.
They meet people along the way too. Mm-hmm. That help a lot.
Yes, it felt a little bit too easy for this to be like such a horrible fallen world. Like, if it was that easy to get the full word, why hadn't anybody else tried? Like, why wasn't anybody else able to succeed? And
people did try, though.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. It just felt a little bit too easy for me.
We can talk about this when we get to the book, but I have a lot of thoughts on this that I'll love to share in the future. Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
I think it's your turn. Candy Shop War 2.
I promise I do not hate this book. I have read it once. Also freshman year, because I didn't even know that it existed before that. D.
Yeah. I think
it is my only D tier.
I put it low C, and I was like, maybe it's D tier. Yeah.
It is my only D tier.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Intrigued. I'm intrigued. I wonder what your other ones are, but okay.
That is interesting. Okay. I don't think we need to talk too much about this. Other than
I do not remember hardly anything about it.
Candy Shop War is meant.
I read that like the same time I read first Dragonwatch, second Dragonwatch. I think is about the same time period.
A very big difference.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying like the comparison of agreeing at the same time probably helped you like realize which one you like better, because there's such different stories and different writing.
But also, like, I have not read, I don't think, the second Dragonwatch more than twice. And like, it's just like the amount of what I remember from the second Dragonwatch compared to how much I remember from the second Candy Shop War.
Yeah.
To be fair, one is written for a much different audience with a much higher reading level.
True.
It's just. Yeah, we don't need to see much more.
Anyway.
It's a fun little book.
It's fine. It's just not my favorite.
It's a sequel to a one-shot.
I think it's okay to put it in D tier. Okay, so now we do Beyonders 2, Seeds of Rebellion. I put this as my first A tier.
Your top of your A tier?
Yes. Where did you put it? I'm kind of scared now.
It's the top.
Of what? C tier?
Yes!
Yes! Okay, this is time for discussion.
It is the top of my C tier.
The first one in front of the second one? Explain yourself.
By one. Like, it's literally like boom, boom in my tier. Like, the first one was the end of my B tier. The second one was the first of my C tier.
I'm going to try not be disappointed in you, Jessica.
Okay. The second one, in my brain, I'm thinking about it right now. It's a prequel. This one walked so the third one could have. I loved the third one. I think was great.
Oh.
I think the third one was great. I just think the second one was them recovering from the end of the first book.
Okay.
Like Jason trying to get back to Lyrian, Rachel running around like a chicken with her head cut off, trying not to get captured, and learning like, and then like setting up for the finale. It's them recovering from the first book and setting up for the third book.
Fair.
So it's just like, and like that seems to color everything that I remember about it. Like,
okay.
Rachel starting to learn Atomic, them trying to collect more Orantium.
I see that. They kind of go like on this little trip.
It's like the first one built up to a crescendo, which was speaking the word. It didn't work, and they're like, oh, crud. And so then they do a little bit of a downhill, and then they have some more hope trying to get to the prophetess, and then they start building back up again.
Mm-hmm.
It was just...
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm gathering is that you're not impressed by the plot. Is that what you're kind of saying? Just that, like, they're kind of, like, gathering their forces, going down to the prophetess, and then they get the prophecy, and that's how it ends.
Yes, I think that is a good way to put it.
Okay. Here is why
I'm wrong.
I love Seeds of Rebellion, and I think you should
Amazing. Every word you just said.
I think you should reconsider putting it up higher, and this is why I put it on A tier. I think it's a really great continuation of the story because the first one ends with like what was kind of seen as like their last hope being fake and not being real. And then they have to try and figure out what to do. And I really like how it like plays off the first one of like the word not being real. And then that kind of inspires some people to be like, you know what, that wasn't our actually last chance. Let's try this one more time, but actually like make an effort. And then they kind of like get together. And I think what really makes it for me are the characters. There's so many characters that I just love. I think Beyonders has some of Brandon Mull's best characters because you have people like, and how the characters interact with the story and how it sets up the ending. And you have characters like, well, Jason and Rachel, obviously, like, they're the main characters. And I like that Rachel gets the thing with, like, Edomic, because then, you know, she actually has something to do other than, you know, running over the goo lake into the island or whatever, which is, like, almost the only thing that she does in the first one. She gets a lot more to do in the second one. You have people like Theron, who has decided to join them because he can't go back to Maldor. You have people like Aram, who's, like, a new character, and Drake. Galaran decides to come back out of the shadows and, you know, be the leader. You go to, like, the seed people. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, like, I think it has really good characters and character growth and seeing how all of these characters interact with the plot and how it sets them up to be able to be successful in their ploy to destroy Maldor. And also, it's just kind of like a fun, like, journey book. You know, they go on this big journey, but they have like a goal in mind to get to the prophetess, but they have to try and like get the people of Lyrian to have hope again and to be like, okay, we're gonna do this one last time. If we all band together, we can try and defeat Maldor. And I don't know. I really like that. And there's like some really awesome scenes, especially with like Galaran. He defeats like 2 Torvors or something. It's just freaking awesome.
That was pretty sick.
It's so sick. One of the last chapters where they're in the last inn and then they get captured by what's his face? The guy that
I know what you're talking about.
The Colonel
the Count,
guy.
The Count of the Eternal Feast.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
And then like Galaran, Nedwin, and Dorthio like come in and like take them all down. I don't know. Like there's just some really good scenes that I like, and good character and character growth that just makes me love this book. Anyway, that's my rant about Beyond.
I do love the characters. I'm not gonna lie. Like Jason coming back to Lyrian after having been sent back to Earth.
Him choosing to come back.
Yes. Top tier. Love that.
It's amazing.
I love that. High B tier? Or low A tier?
Can we do low A tier?
Okay, we can do low A tier.
I do agree. What are your continued reservations?
It just feels same thing what I said. It just feels like a setup. It's 100% necessary. Yes.
Okay.
It's 100% necessary and needed.
Okay.
They needed to get to the prophetess, and I really like that was like it's very simple. Like that was their goal. Like
this is the plan.
It has a simple goal for this entire thing. Like recruit as many allies as we can and get to the prophetess. I think it's great. There's some world building with like the seed people, Rachel learning Atomic. My one thing, I kind of wanted to see her use it for the first time. Be like, oh, wait, I can do it. You know, kind of like Aragon using Brissinger for the first time.
Mm.
Like, it was a sick moment. Instead, it's just kind of like, it's her, like, the first time we see it, she's just, like, lighting a candle. We're like, when did this happen? Like, why are you not magic? Which, it is explained. I just, like, I don't know. I kind of wanted it to be cooler.
Can I say something that's in my mind? There's a really good payoff where she uses the word to take down Auric.
Yes, that was fun. That was awesome.
That was a fun payoff.
Mm-hmm. And also getting, like, all the Oriantium. Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just felt like the stakes had not yet been set. Like, once we get to the end, we get the prophecy, which is kind of a sick scene, because she's like, yeah, I know I'm going to die, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And, like, she, like, speaks, and, like, we're like, okay, you are going this way, you, and you're going this way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything must succeed or else you fail.
Yeah.
And there it is. There is clear cut, and there are stakes. Whereas, like, before this is, like, it's seen as, like, their last, like, not even their last hope. It's just they're resigned to their fates in the second book.
Yeah.
They don't really see a way of winning in the second book.
That's
like,
true.
Galaran goes to the sea people, and they're like, do you even think we can win? And I don't think Galaran gives them a straight answer, because I don't think he thinks they can win.
He just knows that this is the only way that they can go out
with a bang.
With any sort of... Yeah.
Come on, that was good.
Bang. That's true. The biggest bang you've ever seen.
No, but yeah, so, like, because for this, it's just, like, they are all so, like, Jason went back even knowing that, like, to tell them that, hey, the word was a fake. Mm-hmm. But with that was their last hope, and it's just gone. The prophetess gives them a ray of hope. That's why I think I like the third one way more, just because the stakes are there, and they know they have to succeed or everything is lost. Whereas in the second book, it's just like, well, you can try our best, but there's almost no, like, they do not believe there is any way for it to work.
Interesting. I think we just see it slightly differently, and maybe it's just because I've read it a lot, and I read it when I was like 12. I kind of see the second book as like almost how they draw the people back into believing that maybe they could try one more time.
But at the same time, I get that. But at the same time, I think they still all know in their heart of hearts.
Yeah,
we're all gonna die. We're just. It's not a matter of if, they don't really, it is a matter of when.
Yeah, I don't think they really have hope until they do hear the prophetess, but I think that's kind of the point of them being like, come and hear the prophetess. Like, she's the only one that could possibly see any possibility of us winning. And she sees like one in like infinite amounts. But yeah.
I'll go low A tier.
Okay.
For you.
Thank you.
Remember this later on, because I have a feeling we're going to disagree about some other key ones.
Okay. Fine. You will catch in the favor later. Okay. Then number 3.
3 Beyonders. After which there was a pretty big gap, I think, between Beyonders 3 and 5 Kingdoms 1. Like, let me look it up. I have it still pulled up.
I think it was 2013 to 2014. I don't think it was the same. I think it was the same, actually.
Really?
I think it was just a year.
Really? In my brain, it feels like longer. But then again, Beyonders was under my radar.
So
it was under my radar,
so it was a longer
that's fair.
period for you.
Chasing the Prophecy, 2013. Sky Raiders, 2014. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. I remember what grade I was in when I was reading each book.
I wish I'd had, like, been more cognizant of when these ones are coming out, but I just...
It's okay.
Yeah.
Most people don't know about them anyway, so sad tear.
Hashtag, that's why we're doing this.
All right, so where would you rank book 3 of Beyonders? I think it's your turn.
Where did I have it? I definitely had it above 2 and 1. I had it above 1 and 2.
Okay.
I had it mid-A tier.
Mid-A tier.
I think I had it below Fablehaven.
So you would put it like there?
Yes, we haven't fleshed out the rest of it yet. However, I think we could put it above 1 and 2 Fablehaven.
Okay.
Because I think it was a very good finish with very good character development. I really like how they ended it with who stayed, who goes, and like Farron and Drake, Galaran. They all had very fulfilling ends to their stories.
Okay. I had an S tier.
You had an S? Ooh.
And this is one
of your immovable
This
ones?
is one of my immovable. This is S tier for me forever.
Tell me why.
Okay.
Tell me why.
I will tell you why. Because it is a fantastic ending. First of all, to see all these groups go separate and then see the fulfillment of the prophecy is pretty freaking awesome. The ending of it, and something I love about Beyonders is that he puts seeds of the ending in the first book. You learn about Orantium in the first book, and Galaran, this is something I noticed last time I read it, Galaran even says, we don't know where they mined it from. We don't know, the information about where they mined Orantium is lost. He mentions that in the first book. And then in the third book is when they find out that that's where Maldor built his base. And I think that is an amazing payoff. And like the things with...
The question is, do you think he seeded that for a reason? Or do you think it was like, wait, what if I did this?
I think we can't know, but that doesn't mean it's a worse book.
I know, no, that was just a curiosity.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, sorry, that was a side note.
Anyway, so like, I like that he puts like details from the first and second book and has like awesome payoffs in the third book. And you have, like you said, awesome character arcs that end with Galaran, Farron, Tark, Drake, like endings that make me cry, but for a good reason, because it's the fitting ending for these characters.
When I reread Beyonders this past, last month, I shed a tear too when Drake died. I'm not gonna lie.
I bawled my eyes out when I first read it.
When I first read it, I think I did cry a lot. But second time, knowing it was coming, even knowing it was coming the first time for reasons to be discussed later, I still cried because I loved how he wrote that. When he was talking to his sister, that last, "Where's my seed?" That's what got the tear for me. Mm-hmm. That felt good.
Oh.
Farron and Tark going out the way they did, beasts. Love them.
So good.
I loved Farron's development throughout the entire thing.
Oh my gosh. When Farron thinks about betraying them, but then is I can't bear to think about letting Jason and Rachel down. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Specifically Jason.
Yes. And I think Farron's arc is probably my favorite. It's so good. And I also like the fact that he uses the Torvors. I think that's a really interesting thing that gets to be explored in other series. But I don't know. I think it's a really solid ending with really good payoffs for the plot and the characters. And I just love reading it.
High A tier.
Okay. Just everyone remember.
It can move up. It can move up.
Do you really think it's not better than the third Fablehaven? The ending of Beyonders? And if so, tell me why. Tell me why you would rank it below the third Fablehaven.
I would rank it above the third
Okay.
Fablehaven.
Thank you.
But would I rank it up, but below the fourth? No, I wouldn't. Put it up there.
Yes! I have convinced you. It might move down, but right now it's an S tier where it belongs.
Alright, yeah, you win that one.
Did you go first, or did I go first on that one?
I think I did. I think I said that one first.
Okay. Five Kingdoms, Book 1. This is one I kind of had to think about it in terms of the series itself, because I was putting it somewhere between B and top of C. Because I think that it sets up a really great series, but with all of the books, it's probably the one. Of course, I have to reread it every time I read the series, but I don't think it's as good as the rest of the series.
I agree that it is not the best of the series. I think it is the worst of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I love it. I love it to death.
It's really good. I really like it.
It sets up such an intriguing world. Of all the worlds that he has created,
Five Kingdoms
is incredible.
It's the most original, for sure.
It's the most original. It's the most intriguing.
It's really cool.
So good. Such a fun. Can't wait.
I know you love Five Kingdoms.
It.
Don't think that I don't.
I know you
I also do love Five Kingdoms. I just think you love it more than me. I also love it.
I put this one low A tier.
Low A tier.
Because if I'm thinking of the other first books of his other series,
mm-hmm.
I put it above World Without Heroes. I think it does a better job of setting up the series and getting you excited for visiting the other kingdoms.
So would you agree to put it in the first and B tier then? Above World of Heroes, but below Beyonders Book 2? Or does that just make you throw up in your mouth?
I like it more than Seeds of Rebellion too. Of the 3 first books that we have up here right now, I put it above World Without Heroes, and I might put it above Fablehaven 1. For my personal.
That is a hot take.
Mm-hmm, I know. On my list, I have it above as well.
Okay.
Rise of the Evening Star.
But to be fair, I did put it in C tier.
I know you did.
I do.
Right there, I would be happy.
Right here,
I could
for
be happy.
For now, because it is not the best of the Five Kingdoms.
It is not the best.
It's the worst. So.
Okay, we can go B tier. I'll allow it as long as it's above World Without Heroes.
I think it will get bumped down. Or do you want to watch it get bumped down?
I don't want to watch it bumped down,
Okay.
but I want it better stay up there. It better stay there.
Okay. Top of B.
Top of morning.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, next on the list, Five Kingdoms 2.
Five Kingdoms 2.
Rogue Knight. Where did you put this bad boy?
I put it at the second to last of B tier.
Girl, you're hurting me right now. You are causing me pain.
It was higher, and then I started putting other books out, and I was like, I feel like this one, I really like it because I like Cole's powers, and I like that he gets to use it. And then also it hurts, but also like they get blocked because that like causes him to like have personal growth. And so I like that story arc.
Finding Dalton.
I like what it sets up.
Finding honor.
It's
Torivores.
But I will say
Torivores.
Can I?
Sorry.
It's okay. No, you're good. These are good points. But I don't know if I don't know. It's good. I really like it. I don't know why I can't like vocalize this.
You said bottom of B tier.
Yes, but that's because it was above. Because this was in C tier.
Yeah. I would put above Sky Raiders.
Above Sky Raiders?
I did have it. Wait, where is it on mine?
Okay.
This is like mid.
And remember, we can move things around.
Yes, this is like just to get them out first.
Because I almost think the first Fablehaven might need to move down.
I think I could agree. I think Seeds of Rebellion can beat it out.
Yeah. So, would you put it there or there? Because you said it should go here. And I almost think it should go here.
Put it in front for now, and then with room to move.
Okay. So, we have...
But I think Rogue Knight is better than Fablehaven.
Do you think Rogue Knight is better than Fablehaven? So, do you think it's top of B tier?
Top B tier, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, come on.
There we go. Are you...
Because I love Rogue Knight and what they do, like... This is the first, like, we set up in Sambria, and now we're moving to Eloir. We bring in Twitch's plot.
That is a good plot, yes.
We do a twist with, because in the first one, we kind of establish a pattern. Like, there is a menace wreaking havoc in Sambria. Oh, it's Mira's power. So we move on to Eloir, and we have another problem that's, like, of, like... Morgasa. We have Morgasa, and we're like, oh... A plus B equals C, that must be Nora's power. But twist, it's the Rogue Knight.
Yeah, I do like that.
Which is a great twist. Like it does a great job of like
it subverts your expectations, yeah.
Because like that's almost how it always goes. Like you have the first book, you find a formula, and then you kind of follow that.
Yeah.
But then like in this one, it doesn't even wait till like the third or fourth book. It does in the next book and says, nothing is going to be what you expect.
And also, I liked it because it makes sense, too, because they took Brady's power, and it's Brady's power, which was changed by Shapecraft to make Morgasa. And that's, like, a good twist,
and that's where
but it also makes sense.
You start sliding in those little hints of, like, ooh, maybe this is where you slide in Owendel. This is where you slide in the Torivores.
The hunter.
The hunter. Of that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. But like you see all of these little things start coming to prominence, being like things that don't come back in their entirety until the fifth book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little different from Beyonders, because Beyonders it seeds the whole Mount Ararat being the final. But in Five Kingdoms, it's seeded and then you watch the growth. We slowly realize, like, book by book, how much more important a Torivore is. Yeah. We slowly realize, like, how much more influence Owendel has than what we first assumed. Mm-hmm. Like, you see the progression of the twist coming, so it's not as much of a twist.
Yeah.
But you see, like, you're taken along for the ride more than it is just like, oh my gosh, shock factor. To the point where, at the end, it feels... for me, a little bit more earned, but it's a matter of opinion.
Matter of opinion. I will say that I think character growth wise, it's good. I like Cole's arc a lot, but I think out of everyone, he has the most growth. Mm-hmm. And
also,
most of the characters in Five Kingdoms don't have as much growth
I think that's also partially because in Beyonders, minimum, you have 2 main characters. But you can argue for more. Five Kingdoms, Cole is the main character.
Yeah, Cole is the one who saves.
This is Cole's story.
Yes, and that's one thing that kind of bothers me sometimes. Because only Cole can save the day.
Only Jason could save the day in Beyonders.
Rachel. Farron, I would say Farron saves the day. Farron and Tark make it blow up.
Okay.
Okay. That's just
that was one of the matters.
If we're gonna compare the Beyonders, and I guess we are comparing.
That's literally what this entire tier list is.
I just think that Beyonders has more character growth with more characters than Five Kingdoms does. And all of it is put on Cole so much that I'm just like, oh my gosh, bro, thank goodness you showed up to play. Like, if you had failed even a little bit in any of these books, everything would be lost. You're basically just the chosen one, so I don't know.
I mean, he really is. To the point where they make a holiday about his birthday in the 5th book.
Exactly, yes.
As it is one. It is earned.
He's like not the chosen one, but basically is the chosen one.
But it makes sense.
But I just feel like there's just, you're the one that talks a lot about character growth, and I just feel like there's a lot to be said about the characters in Beyonders. I do love the characters of Five Kingdoms, don't get me wrong. I just feel like there's more growth and like deeper things going on with characters in Beyonders than in Five Kingdoms, other than like Cole.
I think there is a lot of deep character growth going on in Beyonders in the side characters. Theron, Galaran, Drake, all of them have great character growth. Jason and Rachel, I don't see a ton of character growth. For the most part, they kind of stay the same, if you think about it. I think Jason gets a little bit more, which I think I like him better than Rachel overall.
I like Jason better than Rachel.
Because he chooses to come back. That is what really gives me huge character growth. But Rachel, I mean, she grows in power.
Yeah,
but does she grow as a character?
I agree with that for the most part. But I think the point of their characters was to make the other people change. Like, that's literally what the prophetess says. She says, I scoured every
world.
Reality, every world, and found you two. And when she describes them as like rocks to start an avalanche. And when I threw you two at these certain people, that created the movement that she needed to make the outcome that she wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's why I'm kind of okay with that, because they were brought to Lyrian not necessarily to change as much as to influence others to change.
Whereas in Five Kingdoms, Cole was not brought to Lyrian. He chose to go to the Five Kingdoms.
To Five Kingdoms.
He chose to go to the outskirts.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't know that, but right from the start, we know exactly what kind of a character he is. Mm-hmm. He is the kind of person who will put everything on the line for his friends. And I think what he goes through is, when it's his fault that something happens, when he is unable to protect his friends, what does he do from there?
You mean like when he's in the slipstream?
Not even just that, like the fact that at the beginning
Sando?
with Sando, it's his fault. And like in the second book, like Mira gets taken by the Rogue Knight and he can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
In the third book, he is captured and like things are happening, and he like. And also, like, when he is posed with the question in the fourth book, I can send you home. Will you go?
And I'm not saying I don't like Cole. I like Cole. He's a great character. I'm just... I don't even remember why this discussion on character started. What was my point? My point is not just about Cole. I just feel like the side characters don't really grow. And I think that's maybe why I like Beyonders more. Maybe it's like a flip flop.
I do like that you. I like that you brought in the point that it is different situation.
Yeah.
Because in Beyonders, maybe Jason and Rachel don't change as much, but they help everybody else change.
That's like kind of their role.
Whereas in Five Kingdoms, everybody else is changing Cole. That is interesting. I've never thought about that.
Neither have I. I didn't think about it that way. It's almost like they're like flip situations. That Cole changes a lot throughout the whole thing, where that like by the end he can like connect to people without touching, and he can just like wreak havoc
like a kid
on Romaro. But Jason and Rachel, they don't really. They're kind of what Lyrian needed already, and that's why the prophetess brought them to Lyrian, is because they were what Lyrian lacked.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah. Whereas, like, in Five Kingdoms, there was already a rebellion, and it was, like, slowly, like, it needed a jump start.
Yeah, it needed Cole to get going.
Not even just Cole, it needed the princesses.
Yeah.
And Cole
keeps it going.
Well, I like that he's not the figurehead. He's not the...
Oh, no, he's not the most important.
He's the battery.
Basically, yeah, he's the battery. He's the battery that keeps the fire going.
Like a king? All right. Okay, so where did we put it? We put it Rogue King. Rogue Knight. There it is. Yeah. Rogue King. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Next.
I think it's your turn for this one. Where did you put it?
I put it S tier.
So did I.
Let's go! I thought I was going to have to fight for that one.
No, this is my favorite Five Kingdoms book.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I love the third book.
It is really good.
It is fantastic.
Another change from the norm.
Good.
Another change from the norm. Instead of having like in Beyonders and Fablehaven, we have, and like in the first two books of Five Kingdoms, we have magic, but we have swords. Mm-hmm. We have shields. It is magical creatures.
This is what I love about the third book, is that it's so different, because it's like Zeropolis, which is like a high-tech city.
It is utopia.
You also get like magic in it too, and it still like makes sense within this world of Five Kingdoms. And I think it's so interesting, and like how they use like the supercomputer, like the AI, which is also kind of weird thinking about this nowadays with AI. But anyway, like this came out in like 2015 or something. But anyway. I love the story, and I love the twist of Hunter being his brother.
I love that so much.
I literally remember like reading this and like reading that part, and I was like, I literally like shut the book and I was like, what is going on? I was like, what? That's his brother? What? But it was like such a good, like, it's a really good book, and it definitely deserves S tier. And the ending with like Roxy having like built a body like a dragon. And then with Sidekick going out in his blaze of glory.
Love Sidekick.
I love Sidekick so much. It's definitely S tier.
It felt like Star Wars. Like, it's got the droids, it's got like the super high tech.
Man, I don't think of it as Star Wars, but I just think it's so good.
Like, Sidekick is like, he's like a better C-3PO.
Yeah, he's way better than C-3PO.
A helpful C-3PO who makes snide comments and like is like constant like not C-3PO but like much. I don't know.
I love
Sidekick. Fun K2SO.
I just think it's like a fun, like it's not, you're not like, because like the other kingdoms, it's almost like, oh, it's like medieval fantasy type, like what every other fantasy is.
Yeah.
But this one is like still fantasy. But it's super interesting because it's like Zeropolis. I'm like, man, I wish I could visit Zeropolis because that'd be kind of sick,
Yeah, and we also see like this is one of the ones where like Cole is confronted with like many more like aspects of home, because Zeropolis looks like it could be Earth.
They literally have the through ports that he can check his email.
He like checked his email, and also he meets Blake, another kid from home.
Yeah.
Even though he's found Dalton, but this time he finds Blake, who is working for the bad guys.
The wrong side. Yeah.
Not that he doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Like, oh, I'm just putting down criminals. Like,
yeah.
Or I'm basically like working with the police. Yes, but no.
Well, he's working with the police, but the police are bad. So that's something I like about this kingdom, is that the High Shaper is like part of the bad guys. Like he's with the king.
Yeah. And also, like, the fact that, like, he's the one with Constance.
The whole thing of, like, Cole delivering the message to Harmony and then going
to the meeting.
The shapecrafters. And seeing Romaro.
And then you really see, like, oh, crud.
You see the big picture. I love that. It's such a good setup for the rest of the series. It's a great third book because it connects to the first two books of like finding the princesses and whatever and like getting their powers back. But then it gives you the window into the rest of the series and sets up Romaro.
Because like, I love that originally we just thought like, because like until this point you think, oh yeah, we're just going to keep getting princesses. And at the end they're going to challenge their dad and we're going to win. This book is like, Yeah, no. That was cute that you thought that.
That was the first 2 books, yeah.
That's when we realized, like, oh crud, the High King is not the enemy here. I also love that.
Meet him.
I also love that Harmony, like, nobody knew that in world. Yeah. Like, Harmony thought still that, like, Stafford was the big bad.
Yeah.
She knew Owendell was definitely a threat, and that's why she sent Cole to the meeting, but she's still, like, she was not aware of, like, to the severity. And I love it.
And then you have, like, the Founding Stone, and, like, that, like, it sets up a lot of things, and it's a fantastic book.
And it does bring in a lot of points of, like, morality, because Cole being able to convince A, Blake, and then B, Hunter.
Yeah, that's true.
About what is going on. It's, like, I love how, like...
That's true.
They, like, he gets this chance to, like, show both of these boys, like, it is not what you thought. Like, you cannot just view the world in black and white.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like... For one thing, like, one of the major red flags should have been that they were both taken there as slaves. But even then, like, the High King took Hunter under his wing. They would practice together. He gave him a position of authority. I bet Hunter still has a slave mark and sees the king as, like, a hero for having rescued. And, like, Hunter doesn't agree with everything that, like, he's like, still, like, slavery is bad.
Yeah.
But, like, he was like, oh, the High King is reasonable. He's
like, the High King was, like, good to me. Like, even though, like, he was, like, working, it was, like, basically, he was working for him, but he was still technically a slave.
He helped me make the best of a bad situation.
Exactly, yeah. And so, yeah.
And Cole is just able to, like, rip those, like, rose-tinted glasses off and be like,
also, Hunter didn't have the full thing. He thought Stafford's daughters were actually dead, and he didn't know that they were alive and that he took their powers. And so, yeah, so good.
And I just love, like, seeing, like, Cole being able to, like, rip those blinders off and be like, this is what the world is really like. And this is why I'm fighting. Because, like, it really shows that Cole is not just, like, he believes in this cause.
Yeah, he's not just doing it just because he's with Mira for the moment or whatever. He believes in it. And
at this point, I do believe that even that now, like, maybe when he had first found Dalton... If he had a way to get Jenna and Dan had told him, do you want to go home? He would have said yes.
That's literally what Dalton asks. He's like, would you leave now with me if we knew where...
In the second book.
Where she was, yeah.
I think in the third book at this point, having seen, like, once he sees Ramiro and realizes how big this is, I think he says, no, I'm staying.
Oh, yeah. Once he knows that Mira trusts him enough to take a message to his mom, to her mom, and, like, he goes there and he meets... Harmony and Stafford, I think, like, that's when he really commits, for sure. And also, there's, like, the part where he can't remember Hunter as his brother, and for a while, I was like, is this gonna be, like, a double thing where, like, Hunter's not actually his brother? Like, there was, like, just a little bit of a while in the third book where I was like, is he lying? And, like, that also added to the book as well.
But I like that he isn't. I just love the fact that he was his brother. And also he can kick butt. Okay. Next up.
Okay. I put this in S tier.
You know how I said that book 5 of Fablehaven was my second favorite?
This is your first?
That is my number 1.
This is your number 1.
This is my number 1 of all Brandon Mull books. I put this above Fablehaven 5. I put this above Chasing the Prophecy. I put it high because this one is so cool.
It's very good.
I think
it definitely deserves S tier.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Can we put it second?
Okay.
Because you said this was the perfect finale. This isn't the finale.
That is true. Okay. I'll give you that one.
Okay. Yay.
I love this book so much. It's still my really personal favorite.
It's so
Death Weavers. First of all, the premise. So we're getting to this fourth world, this fourth kingdom. Like, all the kingdoms have, like, they're an in-between place.
Yeah.
Sambria is in between a place of dreaming and awake. Next is Elawir is reality and imagination. Zeropolis is like you can twist the boundaries of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to Necronum, which is life and death.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Crazy.
So, like...
This is probably the most unique, like, kingdom, and the way that he sets it up is, like, the world building in this kingdom is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And not even that, because we have the ability to talk to people who have lived hundreds of years previously, we get so much world building as well.
Yeah.
This is when we really understand the plot, like, what the finale is going to be.
True.
But at the same time, like, so I love the fact that in this book, all of his other allies are stripped away because of one mistake that he made.
Oh, I hate that part so much.
The fact that he trusted Sando because he was inexperienced and didn't understand. Mm-hmm. Because of that, all of his allies are gone. Mira, Jace, Joe, all captured.
And there's something that I like about this. It sucks that he got betrayed, right? And, like, got taken in. But I think it was really, like, smart of Sando and Romaro because they, at that point, knew that everyone was relying on Cole. Mm-hmm. And that's why he only appeared to Cole. And then no one else got, like, in the first chapter when he meets Sando, like, he only appears to Cole and he makes, like, him promise, like, the perfect, like, entanglement of the deal to, like, stop him and, like, sets it up perfectly. And I think it was, like, a much needed downfall because to this point Cole had just been, winning left and right. And so, other than, getting his powers taken away, but
this was a big loss.
He needed to be, like, he needed to lose. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was a really good.
And I just love that, like, almost this entire book, he is by himself, and he has to start all over, gathering a few more allies here, gathering a few more allies there.
Yeah.
And then getting to the point where he can go and take back, like, get his friends back. Mm-hmm. I just love the process. Like, at this, like, once Amira and his friends are taken, like their souls are, like, their life sparks, I believe is what it is, are stolen from their bodies. What does he fall back on? He promised Mira that he would find Tessa. Mm-hmm. He promised her that he would find her. He doesn't even start looking. He knows he can't help Mira and Jason, Joe immediately. But he's like, but I can help Tessa. Mm-hmm. And I promised her that I would try.
And he knows that with Tessa is, like, her power. Mm-hmm. And, like, everyone's looking for her too. And so he has to get to her first. And that, like, her power will help as well. Mm-hmm. I will say there is one thing of this book that kind of gets under my skin. Don't give me that look.
But it's perfect.
The fact that he has to go to, like, 5 different places to, like, get answers is kind of annoying to me. They're running in the Echo Lands for, like, who knows how long. There's no time, because they just keep going forever. This is the one thing that kind of bothers me. He goes from, like, the Charnel House to, like, the base of the evil people to, like, She Who Stands at the Summit to Prussia to Dandalus, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Quite in order, but okay. But I like that in every single thing, every single stop. It's like...
I mean, I know it shows his perseverance.
But they're also necessary stops.
It's just
stops at the Charnel House, he gets extra defense.
Yes. I get that he needed to.
Place of Heroes.
It's just a personal nitpicky thing.
Drake and Farron.
That was not on my list of complaints.
And also, what's his name? Cool
Harlan.
Harlan and Winston.
Oh, what the frick is Harlan Kane?
Harlan Kane. And also, we get backstory on Owendell right there.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad that he goes to all these things. It's just personally... It gets a little tiring. And I know it's tiring for Cole. He's like, really? I have to go to another place? Is the next person just going to keep telling me to go to this place and it's never going to end? Like, I know it's annoying for him too. And I feel that annoyance because it's annoying for me.
But I love it.
I know you do, which is why it's an S tier.
It's, like, so cool that we get to explore so many different places. Like, because, like, the Echo Lands, like,
the Echo Lands are so
huge. Cool. They are huge. And so, like, I think we kind of had to do all this to explore all the different facets of it. And, like, visiting the charnel house with the slipstream kind of, like, foreshadows him jumping into the slipstream and kicking butt.
I'm not saying it's not unnecessary. I'm just saying, personally, it bothers me. This is just a personal thing.
I honestly think my favorite scene of all of his books, actually, maybe, might be Cole jumping into the slipstream. Mm-hmm. And, like, just, like, the way that Brandon Mull described, like, the feeling of, like, the impurities being stripped away, and yet the call of the home song, but what kept him there was his dedication, was his devotion,
purpose.
His devotion to his friends.
Yeah.
Mira, Dalton, Hunter, because at that point he knows Hunter is his brother.
Yeah, I do love that.
Jenna, and then, like, him, and then, like, finally getting that power, being like, we're not done yet. Also,
back for round 2.
I love the fact that, like, Tessa jumps in first off, and he jumps in after her, and she's like, it felt right. And Cole's like, well, it felt right to save you. And Tessa's like, well,
she's like,
that might be right.
She's like, fine, you win.
Like, because I love how she's, like, so confused, like, but I thought that was it. Like, that was, wait, what?
She's like, wait, it was right for me because it was meant for you?
I love how little control she has, and so she's just, like, she's so
that poor
impulsive.
girl.
That poor darling.
She can't
so
even be impulsive. She just has to listen. Yeah. Listen to her.
She gives me, what's her name? Elva from Aragon. Do you remember her?
Oh, but she can't be impulsive. She has to... I guess it's kind of the similar situation, though.
It's a similar, like, so young, but with such great power that you are treated differently.
Yeah.
You are, like, constantly, like...
That's true.
Like, it's a very similar... I never thought about that until right now. They are very similar characters.
For those of you who haven't read Aragon, it's the Inheritance Cycle. It's another fantasy book series. Amazing. Really good. Kind of long. Really good.
Yeah, it's kind of...
As a similar character.
It's a little bit more dumbed down Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's also a high fantasy because it has nothing to do with Earth or anything. It's like its own world. Mm-hmm. And so... he was definitely copying a lot from Lord of the Rings. But, yeah.
I'd say it's better, but that's my personal opinion, and Maggie's not going to agree with me, but that's okay.
No, I haven't read the Lord of the Rings books. I've only seen the movies.
Oh, really?
And the Aragon movie was
Don't
trash.
Talk about it.
It was burning trash.
No, it was
Fear set it on fire.
It was trash burning in a trash can that was thrown into a dumpster fire that had exploded in front of a runaway train.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It was terrible.
But the books are fantastic. Anyways, we need to move on. Sorry about that Aragon tangent, but highly recommend.
Yes.
If you have not read it. Yeah. Read it.
It is S tier.
It's so good. Love it so much. All right.
I can't remember. It's your turn or my turn?
No, but yeah. Oh, finishing my other comment though with the best scene, the fact and then Cole going to Gamatru and just wrecking everybody.
That is a fun scene.
When he has unlocked his powers and he just starts going crazy, I'm like, go, also, boy, let's go.
I love the mayor, and that the mayor takes him to Callista, and she's like, bye sis, I'm gonna go, he gives her powers back, and she's like, yeah, I'll go fight.
That's what I'm loving, we're bringing together all of these people that we've met over so long, and we're gonna go and kick some butt.
And then they do, and then they go to whatever the Fallen Temple, and then Romaro kicks their butt.
But Cole still kicks his butt.
He doesn't kick his butt yet, but he makes it so he can't. He gets put in another prison. But yeah,
great twist right there too.
That is a really good twist.
Okay.
Dragonwatch 1.
Okay. I am probably going to be unfair to Dragonwatch. I'm just going to put this disclaimer right here. All 5 of these books I have read 2 or 3 times max. Some of them having been since probably 2019 I haven't read.
Okay.
I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I do not remember a ton.
So I can sway you on these more.
You can probably sway me pretty hard on these ones.
Okay. I put Dragonwatch 1 at A tier.
Let me see. That sounds right. I put it top of B tier.
I can also probably be swayed on these because I like them, but they're the series I've read the least amount of times other than Candy Shop War. So I've read the first and second one a lot, but I haven't read them as many times.
Mm-hmm.
So you put it top of B tier.
I put it number 1 in B tier.
I put it second.
But it was tier. For me. It was below Rogue Knight and Fablehaven.
It was below Rogue Knight and Fablehaven. Oh, interesting.
Because I had those in A tier.
Mm-hmm.
It was also above Sky Raiders, but
at first I think I had it lower, but I really think the ending is like the third act is so good. So this is the one where they have to go
find the medallion. The medallion, right?
I think it's the rod, isn't it? They have the medallion.
That's what it is.
And then they have to go get the staff or rod or whatever. And then they have to try and get it back. And then the dragons are like attacking them. And then Seth is like, let's hop on a griffin and go into the air and then
run to the fairy realm.
Like, I just think that was like
okay. You're reminding me of these things, and Kendra being an absolute queen and standing Kendra up to that was pretty
literally
sick.
Faces down Celebrant and takes on a dragon alone, which she's never done before. She's never been able to do it alone.
Oh, she'd done that more afterwards. Did she do that any more after that?
Yeah. Wait. I mean, probably.
Did she
it's called Dragonwatch.
Did she ever again withstand the full might of dragon fear by herself?
Yeah.
When?
The second book, when they're on the road and then they start getting attacked.
I guess I don't remember that one. But okay.
The third, yeah.
Would you put this above Sky Raiders?
Yes.
You think it's a better first?
Yes.
I love how all of the first books in the series are all right next to each other.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They're good foundations.
I think Sky Raiders is a bit better of a first book. Personally,
well, also this is like a sixth book too.
That's
Remember
true.
that this is a sequel series, and he basically Brandon Mull always says like this is 6 through 10 of Fablehaven, so it does have a different tone. So
it does.
I think it's good that Dragonwatch is its own series because it has a different tone than Fablehaven.
And also, it's interesting. It is interesting that he waited for so long in between the two books because Fablehaven started in 2007. Dragonwatch started in 2017. Mm-hmm. That is a 10-year gap between the first books of each series.
Changes his writing style too.
And also,
there's a lot to be said about that. Also,
I think his target audience. I think he realized that a lot of the people who would be reading Dragonwatch were people who had read Fablehaven as grade schoolers.
He definitely matured it.
He knew that we were college students when we were reading it.
Yeah, I think he matured also because it's dragons, which are inherently more violent than a fairy.
I still think it belongs above Sky Raiders.
I think it's better than first Fablehaven.
You think it's better than... Ooh.
But maybe that's because it's a continuation of the Fablehaven story and it doesn't have to do as much legwork. But we don't have to think about it as it's better than the first book. Just it as a book.
Is it better? I want to put it behind Fablehaven 1, but I'll let you put it above Sky Raiders. Deal?
Okay. Sky Raiders is not better. I don't think it is. It's good. I think Dragonwatch 1 is better.
Okay. Is it my turn for...
Yeah, where'd you put number 2? Gosh, sorry.
Number 5.
I was thinking number 5 of 5 Kingdoms. Let me guess.
Number 5, Time Jumpers.
S tier?
It's S tier.
I put it A tier.
For me, you put it in what tier?
A tier.
Oh, I thought you said B for a second. I was about to throw hands.
I put it in D tier. I want you mad at me.
I would be.
I think that would end our friendship if I put it
easily
in D tier.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Okay. I love you a little more than that.
Okay.
I'm in a relationship. I'm in a relationship with a guy who doesn't love Percy Jackson. I'm flexible.
I'm sorry. What?
We'll talk about that later. Okay.
You have a lot to teach that man. Okay.
Okay. I go back and forth on whether or not it's better for me than the third book. I think I would put it above Fablehaven 4.
Okay.
So I think I'm bouncing back and forth. I think it's better than that one too, but I'd let you have that one. I agree it is not as firm of a landing, I think, as Fablehaven was as a fifth book. I do, however, think it is a very good book in and of itself.
It is a good book. This gives me an opportunity to talk about something. So I feel like Brandon Mull has really good finales, but he tends to pack a lot of stuff into his finales. Like, the characters have to do a lot of things before, like, the book can be over. And I think something for this book for me is that, like, literally, they have to jump, like, Cole has to, like, literally time jump so many times. Like, there's so many things that they have to do, and they're literally, like, jumping around all of the kingdoms, and it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, they're, like, doing so many things right now. And it's just kind of like, whoa, what is going on? And so I feel like it's a good story, but it almost, like, gives me whiplash sometimes of, like, how many things they're doing that it feels rushed. But I guess it has to feel rushed because they have a limited amount of time. But I don't know.
I can understand what you're saying. I can see what you're saying. Like, he does add a lot of things to the fifth books. Like, in Fablehaven, he adds the Eternals.
Yes.
In Beyonders, he adds, like Jason's quest keeps getting longer and longer and longer the farther he goes. And
there are ones that I feel like suffer more, like the story maybe suffers a bit more because of it than others. There's one thing that actually does kind of bother me about the fifth book, and that is the first chapter. Because the fourth book ends with Cole, Honor, and Destiny getting captured, and then they're in a wagon on their way to Junction. And I remember reading that, and, like, at that point, the next book wasn't going to come out for 2 years, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is, like, the biggest cliffhanger, like, what is going to happen?
Since Mark of Athena.
And then it was kind of a letdown because they literally get captured. Owendell is, like, with them, and then they get rescued in, like, the same chapter, and then all of a sudden she's like, here, this is the girl.
A couple chapters.
What's her name? What's the girl, the time jumper?
Violet.
It's like, here. Harmony's like, this is Violet. You guys need each other to do all this. I feel like it just got changed. And maybe that was his plan all along, to, like, have them get captured and then immediately rescued. But I just feel like it took this cliffhanger, which was really good and exciting and made me really excited for the next book, and then be like, oh, that didn't really matter.
I understand why you're there. I also had a similar feeling. I don't think it was identical to what you were feeling. I was just anticipating, like, how are they going to get out of this? Because that book, like, book 4 it ended, Cole had just gotten his powers back. He had just wrecked one of the most powerful prisons in the entire Echolands, and then gone on to challenge the Torabor, who was pretty much all powerful at that point, in his home court, and he'd done it. He gets sent back to his body. It ends like he's like they're all like he's in there, like he just comes back to his body after his echo had been in the Echolands. Please, I really hope you guys have already read the books. Otherwise, you're going to be very lost in this entire conversation.
To this if you haven't.
I just realized how crazy this sounds if you don't.
Out of context, this would be really funny.
Really confusing.
No.
But like, just having, like, I expected him to just be able to start going crazy.
Well,
I understood why once he was because his powers were like native shaping.
They're native to the Echolands. That's what Daniels tells him. He says when you go back,
it might not. It won't work as this. He said it won't work the same way. But at the same time, a part of me was like, I want him to burst those shackles. I want him to tear this wagon they're being transported apart. And when he couldn't, I was like, aw.
Honestly, I wanted Honor to do something and, like, break them out.
She turned into a grizzly bear and started wrecking crap.
She does, but I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It just felt really rushed. It was all of a sudden, like, it went from, like, one thing to, like, the next. It was like, oh, okay.
It took a couple chapters.
We have to... Yeah, not that long.
Like, they're captured by Owendell,
Probably,
and then
like,
Stafford.
Within, like, 15 to 20 pages, they were free, and then he was like on his new mission. It just felt like it was kind of like
a little bit longer than that,
like,
but I get your point. Okay,
this is like different than what I expected. I know. Okay, just remember you're being a little protective of these books. Just listen to the criticism. I'm not. It's not that I hate the book, Jessica. Yes. I am just pointing out things that are fair to be a little bit critical about.
Bottom S tier.
Okay.
In front of Fablehaven 4.
Okay.
I'll agree. This one is a very, very good book. It is
if we're gonna do that, book. Can I please move this in front of at least the second Fablehaven?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Because I do think that Beyonders 2 is better than Fablehaven 2.
Okay, I'll give you that one. But even though that has Warren,
this has Farron and Drake.
They were already there.
Yeah, but now they're friends.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. I just really love that book.
I know. Maybe, okay. I don't know. And for some reason, it just felt like rushed to me, but maybe it shouldn't.
I mean, I think at the same point, I think he would have done more, except he had to keep it a little bit kid-friendly. And he had to make sure that they still got to Stafford.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it could have gotten a little dark, and I don't mind a little dark sometimes. I don't know. Okay, book 2, Dragonwatch.
Cold kills everybody?
No, just darker, torture, prison.
Oh, that's kind of what I was expecting, honestly, for him to be in prison.
He was for a day or two. For Stafford, because Stafford's the word though. Okay. So Dragonwatch book 2. Book 2, which is Wrath of the Dragon King?
Wrath of the Dragon King.
Okay.
I put this in A tier.
I'm looking for him. I have him mid B.
Mid B.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That, full disclosure, that is one that I have not reread in a hot minute.
I definitely think it's better than the first Dragonwatch. I think it's a solid story. I like that. Again, Brandon Mull's really good at third acts.
Mid acts, yeah.
Third acts, endings. Because I really like the whole thing of Stormguard Castle, and they have to try and race against the dragons and stuff. And the whole thing with the Wizenstone is bonkers too. Just it's crazy. I think it's a really good book.
I think it is a good book. And it sets up the Wizenstone as being for me it kind of came out of nowhere. The Wizenstone part. And also, I don't know, I just felt that one, if I look back, I do not remember it hardly. I just don't remember much of it. You were reminding me of some key plot points. Maybe it's because I think I've read the other Dragonwatch ones a little bit more recently. Mm-hmm. I reread the first one once or twice. I think it is a little bit better than the first one. Well, I would put it right behind.
I think it's better than Fablehaven 1. If we're gonna put it...
I might put it behind Skyriders, but maybe that's just my personal bias talking.
Okay, hold on. I've been letting your bias of Five Kingdoms run a little wild. I'm gonna draw it back a little bit. If that is okay. I let you put
Chasing the Prophecy that high, just saying. But
that's
okay.
One book. We have 3 of the 5 kingdoms up here.
It's really good. Okay. All right, I'll say... Where do you want Dragonwatch 2?
I put number 2 in A tier. I can put it top of B. Or right here.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the second books are near each other too. The first books, the second books.
Don't forget about Candy Shop.
Okay,
except for Candy Shop.
This is an outlier. Candy Shop's an outlier. I'm sorry.
Period, yeah.
Okay, fine. The first books, the second books, and then we just put a little arrow down here.
All right, we're running a little low on time, so we're going to keep moving. All right, Dragonwatch Book 3. I had this one.
I think I remember this one as well because
I liked the ending a lot. I put this A tier.
A tier. Okay, I would agree. I put it like in B tier somewhere, and then now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, maybe I just don't remember the beginning as well.
I think I don't.
I just remember the end.
I remember the end, and it was sick.
The end is really good. Okay, A tier. I think it's
like Kendra.
Here.
Like, for a unicorn fight, sick. There.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like the unicorn fight was sick with Kendra, with Bracken, and my brain just went
Ronadin?
Like. Thank you. I almost said Gavin. And I was like, wait.
He's bad.
He is digested. No, but besides that, like. Also, Kendra getting the crown of the fairy queen and just kicking
the fact that the queen is like, get my son back, and like gives her the crown. I'm like, oh my gosh! And then her face down with not just like the fight with like Ronan and Bracken, but her face down with the Under King.
The Under King, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That was
it's just
so
like
cool.
Oh my gosh! Like if you ever. Question and I love that if light couldn't defeat darkness, like that was your answer.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that we got such a clear contrast. Yeah. Because first we see Seth going into that and like being like taunted and like oppressed by that fear and darkness.
Well, also it's like you cannot look at the Under King or else you die, is what he's told.
Because
like Kendra does look
and then she just says
she walks right in.
Bet me. Sorry.
You're good. I was being loud too.
I just love that. Like, I love, like, that one, Kendra gets to flex.
Kendra gets
so
to do
hard.
It. Yeah, it's a really good ending.
Mm-hmm.
I think the middle of it is kind of not my favorite.
No, I like the journey to get to the underworld because, like, we have, Nox get his moment to shine, which does not happen often.
You don't mess with someone from Texas.
I forgot about that line. The fact that he actually got to do something was great.
That is kind of funny, honestly. It was like, yeah, Nox, you gotta actually use your big head for something because he likes to brag and doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
I really like the part where Calvin gets to go back to Seth, and then when Seth is visiting, like, the little guy to get information, he, like, doesn't trust him, and then Calvin speaks up for him. I love that part.
I like how this one ended with Seth not being completely trusting again of Kendra.
No.
But realizing that I like that he was able to come to that realization by himself. It wasn't the fact that he got his memories back, but just because he is a good person, because that is who he is.
Yeah.
He did not stay with Ronadin.
I agree. That. Yeah. That's a really good part.
Mm-hmm. So I think it deserves that place.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Book 4.
Book 4.
Where did I put that?
Is your turn or my turn? I keep forgetting.
You go for it. I think I did first.
I put this at A tier.
I put high B tier.
High B tier. Okay. I put this at A tier.
Did you put it above or below Dragonwatch 3?
I think I had it above. So I think I had Dragonwatch 3 at B tier, and then I was like, oh, that's actually
okay.
Because I feel like, first of all, it's really cool, like, world building, like, the idea of, like, Titan games, I think is really interesting, and how Humbuggle is using the Wizen Stone, because we finally get back to the Wizen Stone, and we also get kind of, like, even more, like, the big picture with the Dragon Slayers, because this is where Kendra reads the story about the Dragon Slayers. I really like that, and that, you know, we have Merrick, who's pretty freaking cool. I like Merrick a lot. With Seth, and then Seth, like, trying to, like, find the Wizen Stone, and then he's able to, like, do what he needs to do, and it's just, like, I don't know, how Kendra and Seth were, like, going almost on, like, the same, like, quest. Like, it meets up, but then they have to do different things, and that's kind of crazy. There's just one part I really love where Seth and Merrick fly in and they save, like, Kendra and Warren and all of them because they got captured by that, like, dragon that like,
it was pretty sick,
like, spits, like, cobwebs or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but it, like, makes you, like, stick to something, I think. And I kind of love that part, like, Seth, like, comes in, wings it all out with, like, the unforgiving blade and, like, kills the dragon, and, like, I was like, that was a cool moment.
Kind of hurt, too, because, like, when Kendra and Seth come back face-to-face, like, it's like Kendra being like, Seth?
That is, like, the one part that just, like, breaks my heart. It's like, Seth still doesn't remember.
But when he does,
he's just depressed and
doesn't even fight back.
Sad.
That hurt so much when he didn't even fight when Celebrant took him.
I think it's like a good,
very accurate
good book. Yeah.
When he like realized like people have died partially because of him. Oh, love that. That was his whole messing up with Sando moment for me.
Yeah.
So where are we gonna put it? Oof.
I think it's better than the first two for sure. Is it better than the third one?
I think the third one's a little bit better for me. Well,
okay.
It's gonna be right. It's gonna be right.
I just remembered something. This is something that annoys me. In the third book, Kendra goes and saves Bracken, and then at the beginning of the fourth book, his mom makes him stay, and then, like 100 pages later, you find out that Ronadin took over the fairy realm, and now Bracken is captured again, and that is very annoying to me. Oh,
I think
that is what makes me angry.
I think Brandon Mull just does not like to write romance. I think that's just
I think
he avoids it as much as he can.
I think he doesn't like romance, and I think he saw Bracken as like too powerful a character and was like, I don't really know what to do with him. Let's just make him not powerful. A wimpy person that always gets put into prison because, man, that man has spent more time in prison than any other person. Like, literally, they meet first in a prison. And then he gets captured by Ronadin and put in a prison. And then he gets out and he gets put back in prison.
Yeah, put it after the third book.
Okay. That is, like, something that is annoying to me and will always be annoying, is that I feel like he did Bracken wrong.
I think he had to just because he kind of wrote himself into the corner.
Oh, but he really didn't have to.
With the fifth book, he made Bracken so OP that he had to take him out of the equation from Dragonwatch.
Okay, I say that he's OP, but is he OP? He didn't kill the Demon King. That was Kendra with Basilisk.
Imagine if you had Basilisk.
He wasn't able to do it.
That would be hot if you had Basilisk.
I almost think Kendra would still be more powerful. Yeah. She's still connected to the source more than he is.
Fair.
She's got more raw power. He's got more experience.
I really wish they would kept Basilisk, but again, so OP they couldn't have it.
Okay. Basilisk in the fifth one. Anyway, so yeah, I think he did Bracken dirty, and that's why it should be below the third one, because the third one ended at a good place.
Okay. Alright, continuing on. Book 5 of Dragonwatch. Not my favorite finale.
This one, this is the one I had the most trouble with, to be honest.
Agreed.
Because I think it has really great moments. And I think it is a good finale, but it's not the best by far. I
think we already established which one's the best finale.
Yes, obviously.
Which one's at the top?
Which one is number one? I
definitely don't have an S tier.
It's not S tier. I think where we are right now, I think it might be somewhere around here.
I would say, yeah, low A tier, or even high B tier.
High B tier. It's sad because, first of all, it has, like,
one of the sickest covers.
It has the coolest cover I've ever seen in my life, and the coolest name, Return of the Dragon Slayers. Like, that is so sick. And I remember reading it and being like, this is good, but it suffers from the fact that there's so dang much that Seth has to do in this book. I literally remember finishing the fourth book and being like, how is he gonna finish this book? Because I expected this to be like 800 or 900 pages or something. Like, seriously, it's insane.
And he does the same thing in this fifth book. He brings in a secondary objective in order to complete the first one. Fablehaven, it was the Eternals. 5 kingdoms, they have to, like, jump, like, do a bunch of extra stuff, like, in order to get to the void.
Yeah.
Beyonders, Jason's quest keeps going and getting a little bit more, like, more side, like, it's like a side quest. Dragonwatch, you have the dragon slayers that you're trying to hunt down.
And that's
almost
also
very paralleled with Fablehaven.
another problem, because the dragon slayers, okay, here's some of my problems with the 5th book. The betrayal by, what's his face? The satyr. I feel like that was kind of like, it made sense, but I don't feel like it really made sense for him to go with Kendra. That was one of the things I was kind of like, why are you going with her? Like, why don't you and Merrick stick together? Because Merrick, first of all, didn't find any of his siblings. We didn't hear anything about him once he went off to go try and find his siblings until they get to the Fairfold Kingdom, whatever the heck it's called. Yeah. And, like, I don't know. I just felt like what Kendra was doing was not that important. Or, like, it didn't feel as important as what Seth was doing. And what Seth was doing, he was doing at a breakneck pace. Like, he literally had to go boom, 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 boom. Let's get all the Ether Gem thing. Let's go get Basilisk. Let's go to the Singing Sisters. Like, he literally had to do so much. And I was like, oh my gosh, can we, like, slow down and take a breath, please? And it's only
this
Seth
was very
and
much
Kendra.
This was very much Seth's book.
Yes.
But I think it wasn't as balanced, I think, as book... I think book 5 of Fablehaven was Kendra's, like she got to take Basilisk and be an absolute queen.
Yeah. But Seth did.
But there was, like, there was a balance in what they both did.
Yeah, Seth got Basilisk, and then he
was
also
able to kill Growlithe and
Nagi Luna.
And Kendra, I wish they had let Kendra be a little bit more of a player.
Yeah.
Book 5. Like, she got captured at one point and got to learn a little bit more about her powers and was able to kind of help win back the fairy realm.
That was also annoying.
Yeah, that was one of my gripes with Dragonwatch.
Why can't you break out Bracken again or something? I don't know. It was just like, you have to talk through him through his sister, and, like, you're talking more to his sister than him. I was like, oh my gosh, she's kind of annoying. Yeah,
one of my gripes with Dragonwatch is, like, at the end of Fablehaven, I've already talked about to you about this, but, like, Seth and Kendra are both so, like, they have such fascinating powers. They both represent these two sides of the coin. Seth being a shadow charmer, and Kendra being fairy kind.
And then he goes back on it.
And then you don't really explore that.
No.
Like, Kendra has the same powers she did in book 2. And then I think she learns, like, one more. She can glow.
Well, she, like, is able to, like, use her I don't know.
She was glowing. That was literally the only thing she did.
That was the one thing I'm like, wait, what are you teaching her, Bracken's sister, whose name I cannot remember? I don't know.
Like,
also, the thing about balance, I feel like book 5 of Fablehaven had a really good balance of, like, characters who were doing things and people that were involved. And then
a little bit of tragedy as well.
And then, and then in Dragon Slayers, it's like Seth is doing everything. He gets a little bit of help from, like, Raxtus and Calvin. Kendra's doing things. She has the satyr go with her for some reason. And then everybody meets up at the Fairfold Kingdom. And then they have this big battle, but people only get it, like, I don't know, like, they weren't actually going to win. I don't know. It's just like he mentions the names of people, and then they don't do anything.
But I didn't love the fact that they had to go to another kingdom.
Yeah,
I liked the idea of, like, having different realms. Like, you have the fairy realm, you have the demon prison, you have the underrealm. Where did the fairy realm, the fey realm come from? That threw me off.
The Fairfolk?
Yeah, like, I didn't like.
They're not, like, part of, like, the 5 rulers, though.
I know. Maybe just have them be another preserve or a sanctuary. Have that happen on Earth, I think. Like, that just felt like almost...
I think it was, technically.
I know, but it was just... It
like
felt
a
weird.
pocket dimension? I still don't actually know how that works.
And I didn't love that.
I don't know where it is.
But I think the end battle was sick.
Somewhere in Europe.
Like, Seth being able to go and, like, take care of business. That was sick.
Seth, and, like, the thing with the source... I loved that.
Really interesting.
That was super interesting. I was like, oh, that's where, like, all of the light people get, like, Kendra gets her power. She's connected to the source, not just to the fairy queen, who's also connected to the source. And, like, they meet the actual fairy queen, the first real fairy, you know, like the alder fairy. And then that's where Conrad was, and that's where no one could find him. I really like stuff like that. And that was really good. That was really, really good.
And to be fair, when I think about that book, I remember those good things.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I kind of wish I loved it more.
I know. I want to love it more.
Brandon was so excited with that book.
And I'm not saying it's bad. I just feel like there are some things that it suffers from, and so it's not as good as Fablehaven. And, okay, I know a lot of people who read Dragonwatch and who were, this is something that they were disappointed about that didn't happen in book 5. A lot of people wanted Ronadin to have a redemption arc. Which honestly, I was on that boat. Don't agree with.
I think the way you brought in his backstory in the book, now that I'm reminded of this, the way they brought in his backstory with him being like practically Bracken's brother. Yeah. Having him having it be his fault that the Fairy King was captured. I would have loved for him to give himself up willingly. That, I think, would have been have him be weighed down with that guilt and have that be his way to atone. He still doesn't get off scot-free. Heck no, he's in the demon prison for the rest of eternity.
Prison, yeah, and the Ouroboros like, I'm going to torture you or something.
Like, I think that would have been a very good way to end it.
I do think that Ronadin's arc ended quickly, and he was like important in the first couple books, and then all of a sudden he like wasn't important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like what he focused a lot on Seth and what Seth had to do, and a lot on the world building with that, which isn't bad, but I feel like it could have been better with some of what other characters could have done.
Yeah.
And like involving them.
All right.
So yeah, I want to like it more.
I think I need to reread it. I think that would also help.
It is good. It's good. Like, it's still a good book. It's just not as solid as the finale. Okay.
And then there was one.
The most recent book.
Candy Shop War. Carnival. This is kind of sad. What's it? Carnival Catastrophe?
Whatever, yeah.
Okay,
First of all, I'm going to apologize to anyone whose favorite series is Candy Shop War. You can tell ours is not, and that's okay. You can love Candy Shop War. You put it up at S tier. I'm not going to. Where do you put it?
I put it above the second and below the first.
I put it in D.
Oh, you put it in D?
I put it as the lowest.
I put it... You had it lowest of the low, really. I had number 2 as my lowest. Oh. And I had Carnival second to lowest.
I had Carnival lowest, and then I think I had this one in C tier, and then this in like end up B tier or something.
No, I had first one like let's see here. I had the first one, my second to my third to last. Yeah. The third one, the second to last, and the second one last.
This is where I had it. I had this at B tier.
Yeah. You had it above Skyraider. Ouch, that hurt.
I had Candy. Yeah.
You had Candy Shop War above
Skyraider. We don't need to talk about this right now.
All right, but I think,
like I said, I could have been swayed, and I was okay. And look, it's close. Skyraiders is close to Candy Shop War. Okay, anyway.
Against my better efforts.
Do you think? I think it deserves D tier.
I think it's
Do you think it's above the second one? Okay, that's fine with me if it will let me.
I think.
Hello. There we go. Yeah, it's D tier. I'm sorry.
I had it in C tier, but I can understand why.
Well, it still goes 1, 2, 3.
Or 1, 3, 2.
Oh yeah, whatever. Okay. So
that hurt. Wow. Yeah.
Let's look.
All right.
Is there anything?
We are running low on time.
Okay.
5, 10 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay. Let's see.
Let's look at this. S tier.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying rank for the first two.
Yeah, for the first two, yes, fine. That's okay with me.
Third one, yeah. Yeah, let's like have the cursor over it so they can see where we're at. So yes.
Here, I'll control. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was just looking at S tier, like
okay.
in
As in general.
all of these, I will say fine. Okay. Five Kingdoms can have the S tier. I would say maybe this should be top of A, but I think you would have an aneurysm if I moved it. So.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it like compared to what's in A tier and what's at the end of S tier. I think it. Where would you put it? You would
I would put it right here.
You would put it okay. You know, I think that might be necessary just to like kind of thin out our like say like that is the best.
Fair. That is the best. That is the top of A tier.
But I think that if we do that, I think we need to move Fablehaven.
I think Fablehaven goes.
No, I think that belongs in front.
This? Okay.
Yes. I think we move that one down to the top of A tier.
Okay.
Just to kind of
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like say those top four are our best of the best, our favorites.
I agree. Yeah, because we had those.
Yeah.
We both had those.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Okay, that's fair.
This is gonna get hard.
Fablehaven 2, I'm not sure.
Do you want to move it up or down?
I don't know, because I don't know if I like it more than the first Dragonwatch or not, or the last Dragonwatch or not.
Huh.
This is hard. Do we move anything to C tier? Is the question. Because this is kind of sad.
It's just a
Candy Shop 4 has its own category. Maybe we don't.
I mean, C and D. Candy.
I guess we have to have.
It's candy.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it belongs there. Candy.
Oh, I feel bad, but at the same time, I don't.
Fine.
With A tier, Fablehaven 4, Five Kingdoms 5, Fablehaven 3, Dragonwatch 3, Dragonwatch 4, Beyonders 2, Fablehaven 2.
I think I do feel good about that.
I feel pretty good.
Okay.
Maybe Fablehaven 2 to B tier, but I don't know. I kind of like it there.
Wow.
I like it there.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
B tier.
First, I feel like this is still like a
it deserves
decent.
that.
I feel like it should at least be B tier.
Not even just B tier, like high.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Like it wasn't.
Like I do like it. It's just not.
And it is a satisfying end.
Yeah.
It's satisfying.
It's like, it's the end.
Mm-hmm.
This is the end.
It's nice to know what the end is.
Finally, Bracken's like, yeah, I like you, and I'm actually 16 apparently, but anyway.
Okay. Sorry, just kicked you.
You're good.
Five Kingdoms 2, Dragonwatch 2, Fablehaven 1, Dragonwatch 1, Five Kingdoms 1, Beyonders 1. It's funny how that happened.
Yeah. 1. 2.
Five Kingdoms right here, breaking the mold.
This is a statistical outlier.
Dragonwatch 5, yeah.
Because literally it'd be 2, 2, 2, 2.
Mm-hmm.
3, 3, 3. Anyway.
Broke the mold too.
Yeah.
B tier. I'd have Fablehaven 1 above Dragonwatch 2, maybe. Well,
I don't know.
No,
I don't think so.
You made some good points about Fablehaven, Dragonwatch 2. Yeah, leave it.
I think Fablehaven is good, but we shouldn't let the fact that it is the first book and we have a lot of nostalgia for it to say it's better.
Mm-hmm. All right. I kind of like it how it is. I say leave it.
Okay. Well, here is our tier list, our combined tier list of all of Brandon Mull's books.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is pretty good.
That's pretty good. All right. That's very satisfying.
Save. Downloading image. Oh, I have to log in? Okay, I'll do that after that.
We'll figure that out later. Okay, and final question. If you had to rank the 5 series, like as wholes, what is your ranking? I have mine.
Oh, okay.
We have it listed up on the board. Fablehaven.
Okay, how would I rank them?
Okay, we have Fablehaven, Dragonwatch, Beyonders, Five Kingdoms, Candy Shop War. Rank them.
Number 1, Fablehaven. I think Fablehaven, not just because it's OG, I just feel like it is the strongest series out of all of them. Like, I feel like every book gets better, but I feel like every book can stand on its own. And it has a amazing ending, great character growth throughout, really good, like, plots. It has a good balance of, like, humor and, like, serious things, you know, has good twists. I feel like Fablehaven is just a solid series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it deserves number 1. What do you think? Where do you put number 1?
I put number 1 Five Kingdoms. I think it has the most interesting world, the most interesting magic system.
Okay.
I really love Cole as a character, and I love like the struggles that he goes through. Like, it's just like I would want to live in the Five Kingdoms.
Okay.
To me, that would just be such a cool. Like, to me, it's just so intriguing to me. Like, I stay up at night thinking, oh, how does this work in the Five Kingdoms? How do the Toravors work? Like, all these thoughts going through my head.
Fair.
I love Five Kingdoms. So that's my number 1. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Beyonders.
My number 2 is Fablehaven. For many of the reasons that you just said.
Yeah.
Expound on Beyonders, though.
Beyonders, I mean, it's been one of my favorites forever. It feels, I know it's not technically like high fantasy, but it's like this epic like fantasy world where I want to go. Like, I want to live in Lyrian. I think it's like, I mean, after Maldor is destroyed, obviously not before, but I just think like, I just love the characters so much. I like Jason a lot, actually. I don't like Rachel as much. I really like Jason. I love Galaran. I love Farron. I love Drake. I love Aram. I love Jasher. I love, like, all of these characters, and I just love their story and how they interact and how what they, like, their choices, like, come to this end of Maldor. I love the use of the Torvors, the intro of it, and fighting the Torvors is pretty freaking awesome, and like killing them because like that's not supposed to happen. It's really cool, and the ending is awesome, and I love that he left it open for more. Like, there is more that could be added to this world, and I really am excited to see what he does to explore more of it.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right. Number 3. My number 3 is probably Beyonders.
All right. My number 3 is Five Kingdoms. Five Kingdoms is close to Beyonders.
Yeah.
I think Five Kingdoms is a fantastic series. It's really good. Mm-hmm. I think one of the problems for me is that Cole is the only narrator, and I feel like that makes it... I think that's why I kind of like Fablehaven and Beyonders more, because I like the two narrators.
You have the contrast.
You have the contrast, you have different perspectives, and you can like follow the story in a slightly different way, but still like connected at all. Mm-hmm. But it's just Cole, and that's not like a bad thing, but the fact that it's all on Cole all the time is just makes it a little down for me. That's one of my problems with it. And kind of just like what I've said before, like the characters, like it's mostly just Cole growing and stuff, but Five Kingdoms is number 1 in world building for sure. It has amazing world building, and it would be, I actually kind of like to go to the outskirts as well, just because like it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. And I think with Beyonders, I really like, I like the concept of Adonic. It's a very interesting magic system. Mm-hmm. It kind of does give me like the ancient language vibe in Aragon. Which came first? Aragon or Beyonders?
Aragon. Aragon was written in like 2003.
Really?
Yeah. He wrote the first Aragon.
The fourth one came out
2003. The fourth one came out in like 2011.
I guess that sounds about right. Yeah, so it does really give me Aragon vibes. I think with Beyonders, I think I kind of already highlighted my gripe with Beyonders. Like, getting the word felt a little bit too easy for two 14-year-olds to do. when it was like set up to be this like huge quest that only the most brave and most capable could do.
It was also set up, but anyway.
It was also a setup, true. And then with like it just felt like there was a little bit for me, I like Five Kingdoms was more like it was a continuous series. Like each one had like threads of like themes and patterns that did repeat, even though they were subverted frequently. There were like threads that stayed constant that were kind of like traced through each book. Whereas Five Kingdoms, you have with Beyonders, it's you find you're trying to get the word, gone. Oh crud. All right, we might as well just mount together for one final offensive. Oh, now there's hope. Start from the beginning, final. Like they felt like almost more like 3 standalone books to me personally.
Interesting.
But I do agree that the character building between all of the relationships between all the characters is phenomenal.
Interesting. I almost see it opposite because Beyonders all takes place in the same, like Lyrian is just like one place as opposed to Five Kingdoms. They go to each different kingdom, which almost feels like a different world. And so to me, those almost feel like different stories as opposed to Beyonders. It's interesting that we see it like opposites.
It's almost like we're different people.
Oh, man.
You wouldn't know sometimes.
Okay, what's your number 4? Should we say it? Yeah, I was going to say it on Dragon. 1, 2, 3, Dragonwatch.
It gave me a lot of happy things. Like, I loved seeing the continuation of Kendra and Seth's story. Like, it was something that I really wanted after finishing Fablehaven.
Oh, yeah.
It just left me a bit wanting. Certain things that I wanted were not expounded upon. I feel like that is the struggle with any sequel series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Star Wars. Look at Percy Jackson with some of the later series. Hey, Heroes of Olympus. I'm talking about like Trials of Apollo.
Trials of Apollo is hilarious though, and it's not Percy. Percy's like, go away. I don't want this.
But yeah, so
I think Dragonwatch is less for me because it's not the same series. I know he says like it is books 6 through 10 for Fablehaven, but it is not the same series. Mm-hmm. It has a very significantly different feel to it, I feel like. Yeah. And it's like you said, there were some things that I wanted that didn't quite happen, and it just didn't feel the same. It's still good, but it's not as good.
And then Candy Shop War.
Yeah, that was not a surprise. Okay, so mine is Fablehaven, Beyonders, Five Kingdoms, Dragonwatch, Candy Shop War.
Whereas mine is Five Kingdoms, Fablehaven, Beyonders, Dragonwatch, Candy Shop War.
I was wondering if you're going to put Five Kingdoms first. I was like, is she going to put Fablehaven first and then Five Kingdoms? We're just going to do the switch? I was wondering. Anyway.
Nah, Five Kingdoms is just, for me, it's so awesome. I love it.
It's so good.
Oh, it's so good. I'm sorry. Okay, I've gushed about Five Kingdoms enough during this. In case you haven't noticed, it's really good in my opinion.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you stayed for the whole time, thanks. Let us know what you think. What's your favorite series? What's your favorite book? How would you rank it? Where would you disagree with us?
We are open to any and all criticism and opinions and
discussion.
Feedback, yes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, to sign off, please continue listening and looking for our podcasts on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts. We're doing our best to pump those out just as quickly as we can. We're really enjoying it. I believe we're about to start doing Fablehaven Book 3.
Yes. That's
Grip of the Shadow Plague, which it's very high ranked. We are going to be enjoying that one.
Yes. It's all A tier and S tier from here on out. So
pretty much. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
And besides that, though, feel free to send us your thoughts to our email at knightsofthedawnpodcast@gmail.com. We'll love to hear from you. Again, those tier lists, thoughts on Fablehaven Book 3 or Books 1 and 2, which we've already reviewed. And also, for those of you who have sent us emails, please keep doing that. We love it.
Thank you so much. And
you're
comments.
amazing.
We also love your comments on YouTube.
100%.
So, yeah.
But, yeah. But, however, we gotta sign up for now because I have work in about 5 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, go.
But I'm Jessica.
I'm Megan.
Have a great day.
See ya.